Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fire Emblem Fates Quickies. Today we will be doing Chapter 12, Bitter Intrigue. This chapter is notorious because of its insane mechanic. Most people just call this map the pot map, and it makes sense because there's a shitload of pots here. Now each of these pots has a predetermined effect, and you can see it on the left side of your screen. You could probably figure out what this does, but just in case you don't. For example, this is labeled as HP. This does not work as an HP tonic. It works as a healing effect. The negative HPs damage you. The boots are freeze. The X is silence, and this heart, that's the one you really just want to avoid at any cost. That would be hexing rod status. Now, the way we're going to be dealing with this map is we're going to be doing the tried and tested throw Camilla at it strategy. We're going to be having parry attack go there. We're going to have Azura trade this boomstick and this javelin and this HP tonic over to parry. If you want to know what all preps I've done, just check the description, by the way. Go over here. We're going to put carry barely in range. Equip the boomstick, use an HP tonic. We're going to heal her with Felicia. Now, Felicia is actually very close to level 15, and we'd like to hit that relatively soon. I was just thinking about something real quick. So we're going to be attacking here with Camilla. These guys are not going to want to go for Camilla, considering they do jack shit for damage. Everybody else is going to go to the right or to the left, splitting evenly in half, approximately. So Niles, we're going to, the only important part of the split is that you want to have Niles on one side, Kaze on the other. It doesn't matter who's on which side, but you do want to have one on each side. The reason is because Niles and Kaze are your only lock touch users as of now, and each of the sides has one chest that we really want to get as soon as possible. Now, we're going to attack here. I do want to talk about the units that we've gotten for a while and how we're going to use them. Let's start with Laszlo. Laszlo, he's as you might have guessed, he's Inigo from Awakening, but he's a mercenary, and his speed is not that great, but you can definitely augment it if you reclass him into a ninja class, which is what his reclass is. It's a very good reclass for him, and you can get a bunch of stuff done with it. But what we're going to be using him for is the fact that his base speed is actually very solid, and the fact that with a very little investment, he can actually really put the hurt on the next chapter. So we're going to be basically instant promoting him, using him for a while, and then eventually just using him as a pair-up bot, or just dumping him forever. Not to say that he's not useful in a regular run, but for our purposes, this is going to be the better use of it. Make sure you do not attack this top pot, whatever, because that's one of the hexing rod pots. Now we're going to separate out over here so that these guys are inclined to attack Effie. Now, as you can see, none of these guys actually wants to attack Camilla because they do actually just no damage to her. I made a mistake, actually. You really want to, you really want to be attacking this pot with Camilla, so that she gets the strength and defense boost. The reason that you want that specific one is that Camilla's strength by right now isn't actually quite enough to one round those guys. She can one round all the basic guys, but she can't actually one round Saizo or Kagero. So, and that will help us do it. Next up, we're going to just be trucking along, just doing this, having Effie move up. Now, something important to note is that each of these rooms actually has a different orientation, which results in you having to actually tackle them in a completely different way. The left side room, there is no enemy range on the door itself, so you can just open the door and get in for free. But the right side room has an entrapped maiden, and enemies are actually targeting the door. And the apothecaries in the center, you do not want to fuck with these guys. These guys will actually mess your day up. Especially the spendthrift guys that do 37 damage and have 23 effective defense on initiation. So you either want to put a really low res unit in range of the Shrine Maiden and get them entrapped, or you want to put somebody, you want to put your lock touch unit right here and have Azura dance them and then move into the room. Once you open the room up, it's pretty simple to just walk in, but until you do that, it can end up being a decent struggle. Now, we're going to be moving Felicia here, and we're actually going to be just pairing up with Azura just so we can get her for the other part of the map. As always, we're just going to be moving over. you really need to be moving ahead because this turn has a this map has a turn limit, and the turn limit is, while not necessarily super tight, it can and will mess you up, like most things in Conquest. So I'm going to be attacking here in attack stance. So now that we have the extra strength and defense buff, we're just going to move over to Sizo and bonk him. Move Felicia over here, switch, accelerate. Effie can just move up. Niles is also going to move up now that we have all our units over here. Keep in mind that the moment you engage the ninjas in the center, there's going to be 8 apothecaries that are going to spawn. Now, each of these guys do a decent amount of damage, but none of them really do too much aside from Kagero. And Camilla can easily take care of all of them. As you can see, she can still take them out. So we're just going to have Camilla use a hand axe, and then she'll be able to take those guys out as the time goes. The reason we're equipping a hand axe now is just so that she doesn't actually get targeted on enemy fates, because she wouldn't be able to counter without the hand axe. Now we're going to put Kaze on this tile right here, and we're going to try to get Felicia to level 15 like right now, because that's going to result in us being able to give Kaze Inspiration and Demoiselle, and at that point he can handle all 4 of these apothecaries. These apothecaries are also very scary because they have a bunch of strength, and some of them have certain glow steel uni, which is not really something you want to be messing with. So the way we're going to be dealing with this room is that we're going to be, give me a second here, we're going to be opening this door, we're going to be, we're going to be pushing in with Effie, and we're going to be using this room as effectively a choke point. Choking with Effie and making sure to trade her Laszlo's vulnerability, because Laszlo needs to, she needs to have that extra vulnerability to reliably survive. Now let's move on. We've basically dealt with the center. The only reason was to do that was really just to deal with be able to deal with Sizo and Kagero, just so we can get the Flame Shuriken. We won't be using the Flame Shuriken because the best use of the Flame Shuriken is like a magic stack to Sugi or Felicia as a maid, and you can see we don't have Felicia as a maid. Now, because Kaze is going to be tanking over here for a while, it's going to take us a while to get him it's going to take us a while to get him to the chest itself, but that's not too much of an issue. Now, the real issue now is this Shrine Maiden with Freeze. The Freeze Shrine Maiden she's a real pain in the ass, and she'll just target anybody. She'll basically think of the person that you really don't want to be targeted by the Shrine Maiden, and the Shrine Maiden's going to target that person. There's AI reasons that she does it. She usually targets people that are already in enemy range, stuff like that. But that's really not relevant right now. Basically, all you need to know is that she's a dickhead, and just try to make sure that you take care of her as soon as possible. Sorry about skipping the enemy phase. Nothing really happened. It's just a bunch of enemies moving. Now you always want to attack this guy in front of you, because that gives you access to. You want to attack the guy in front because that gives you 2 free shield gauge and you don't take a counterattack. And there we go. Now that we have level 15 Felicia will now get Inspiration to make it so that allies within 2 spaces take 2 less damage and deal 2 more damage. So Kaze has an effective 17 defense, and these guys do at most 11 damage to him. As you can see, Parry's hit rates aren't that great. Okay, let's talk about Parry now. I already talked about Laszlo, but let's talk about Parry. Now, Parry is a unit that I hold a lot of love for. Not a person, that her character is something that I also don't care for, but her unit status is very enjoyable. Parry is a very good low investment unit because you could really just promote her into either class after leveling her up a few times, give her any decent backpack, and then she'll put in some work. Parry's offensive stats are her main draw, and also her personal, being surprisingly not shit, is also a very good thing. So Parry's personal is Bloodthirst. If you, let me just go talk about it real quick. Bloodthirst. So, if Perry initiates combat and she kills an enemy, she'll get +4 to Strength, Magic, Skill, and Speed until the start of next turn. Now, keep in mind this counts as a rally, so you can't stack that on top of rallies. That is something. It's something that doesn't come up too often, but it does come up often enough that it is something to keep in mind. Basically, you can kill an enemy with her, dance for her with Azura, and then have a unit that's got insanely high offensive stats and that can basically destroy anything. Now, we're going to put Niles right here, and we're just going to let them attack him on enemy phase. As you can see, we're on turn 8. We are halfway through the chapter. Sorry about that. As you can see, I didn't talk about the objective of this map. The map is defeat boss or escape, and the boss, of course, being Ryoma, makes it you really want to escape. There's this Dragon Vein. If you're playing with saves or with save states and whatnot, in fact I recommend you doing this Dragon Vein because it cripples so many of these enemies. As you can see, we have these 2 are Hexing Rod. These 4 actually are Hexing Rod. This is a freeze. You know, a bunch of these deal a bunch of damage, silence you, debuff your sets. Basically, you're going to be putting a bunch of hurt on these apothecaries. So, if you're able to do it and pull it off, I highly recommend it. But because we really want to get the items in these 2 chests, this one's an Armor Slayer and this one's a bunch of gold. The Armor Slayer in specific, we're going to be using a lot in Chapter 13, so having it is really nice. Anyways, what we're going to do now is we're going to swap Arthur here. We're going to trade the dual club onto him, and we're going to equip it. Now, as you might have guessed, Arthur has 5 res, which is very low. The Shrine Maiden will almost certainly be able to entrap him, and that's what we're counting on. We're going to have the Shrine Maiden entrap Arthur and get in there a bit early so that Camilla can do her work. As you can see, it works out. Now, there's a small chance that she misses, but there's basically no chance that she misses twice in a row. So you can rely on you can rely on getting Arthur entrapped. And even if that doesn't work, then you can just move Kaze up in a few turns once he's done dealing with these guys. Now, it's important not to put Effie on this tile, because this tile lets her be attacked by 3 enemies, but this tile only lets her be attacked by 1 enemy, so it's a significantly better tile to keep her on. As you can see, these guys don't really do much to Niles. The money that we get on this chapter is actually going to be very helpful, because we're going to want to promote our units very soon. If you just give me a moment here. Just checking. Now, there's also a Silent Shrine Maiden here. Kaze has gotten to the point where he can just take care of these guys. So we're going to be moving Felicia into here so that she can actually take the silence. We can't have Felicia silenced at the end of the chapter because we need her to be able to use an Enfeeble on Ryoma to see whether we can get her boss kill. As you can see, Niles, he's a bit hurt, but he'll be fine. Now, Kaze's right here. We can just go here. Even if the guy hits us, then even if we miss, the guy hits us, whatever. We have another full turn to attack him. Now, as you can see, the pots that separate these left and right rooms from the rooms closer to the center, they all are negative pots. A lot of these pots that keep you from important parts of the map are negative pots, so you want to keep that in mind. Basically, just use this map. If you just look up Fire Emblem Fates Conquest Chapter 12 Chapter 12 map, then this is the first result that shows up. Next thing we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be lunging this ninja, because that lets us get closer to the boss. And there's a bunch of enemies here, but soon these apothecaries are going to start moving, so being able to take care of them all now is a great thing to have. The first silence guy missed, but that's just because Felicia has a bunch of res and magic, so they don't have the best hit rates. But even if one of them hits, we're just doing it so that we can bait out the staves. If Effie ever gets low, remember she has a vulnerary for a reason. Alright. As you can see, we could probably put the hurt on this guy, but if you do that, then this guy gets baited and he starts moving up, which is not the greatest thing. Both these guys have Kodachis. This guy has a droppable one. This is the only droppable Kodachi you get. Kodachi is basically a javelin for swords. It's pretty solid. I would recommend using it. Now make sure you keep Camilla out of range of the bow guys, because those guys will mess her up. Now that Kaze is done, we can just move back here, heal him up, dance for him, move over here. Next turn we can take care of him. Now, another thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to bait this guy away from the pillars so that he doesn't get free terrain. Alright, let's get going. Now, if your corn ever gets low, there's a pot right here that lets you heal up, so you don't have to worry about that. So, we're going to open the door with Kaze, the world's slowest opening doors. Now, if you're playing this chapter and you think that you can't skip that animation, you can skip the animation. I just wanted to show you how ungodly slow those doors are. Alright. Now that Camilla's here, you can see she does a number on Ryoma with a dual club, but she doesn't quite double yet. That's fine. We don't have to worry too much about that. As you can see, we're nearing the end of the chapter. It's turn 12. We only have 16 turns to do this, so we need to get a move on. But not before we get the treasure, of course. And we're almost done. Now that Camilla has been hit with seal defense, she can actually like take hit. She actually is able to bait these guys out. We're going to be going ahead and using our Corn to attack here. At this point in the chapter, Corn is not useful for attacking Ryoma because Corn does not have enough. He doesn't have enough weapon rank to attack Ryoma. So we're just going to be using him as basically, hey, hey, if you need to get to the exit, then you can get to the exit. Ooh, sadly accidentally hit Camilla with a strength debuff there. Bit of a mistake. Didn't mean to do that, but not too much of an issue. Might as well go here, heal up. As you can see, I could go here, and these guys would actually kill Niles. But if I had a full shield gauge and I was able to tank a hit, I would be able to attack both those guys. But that's not the issue right now. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking the Enfeeble Staff that we got from a little bit ago. We're going to be waiting for the time to use it, though. Felicia, we're going to be right here. As you can see, I mean, Camilla's taking a bunch of debuffs, but that's what we're trying to get her to do. As long as we don't bait the apothecaries, you're fine. We're going to be using, as you might have imagined, Effie to attack this guy because this guy gets bodied by Effie. Now, we're going to be cutting it close, but because of the boost that we've given Camilla, she'll be fine. The Shrine Maiden just ran out of silence uses, so switch. We're just going to be giving Corn an extra movement just in case we actually do need to just book it out of here. We can go here, and then we can use the dual club to kill one guy with the Kodachi. Then Effie can head out here, and she can absolutely shit-can this guy. Get the Kodachi, and we're ready to take out Ryoma. Alright, let's get this party started. Go ahead and try to enfeeble Ryoma. If your enfeeble shot misses, then just try to escape. Basically, if anything goes wrong, just escape. And that is Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, Chapter 12, in, how many turns again? Speed up. In 16 turns, exactly. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in comments. Subscribe if you want to see more of this, and we all know what the notification bell does by now. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, Elise isn't deployable on this chapter because she's sick, apparently. So, have a good day. Bye.